What's up, everybody? It is another World Series of Poker final table. It is the $1,500 GG Masters. Of course, we're not at the final table yet, but you know what I mean. We're close, and we will talk about the final table. Jonathan, how you doing?
Doing great. Excited to be here. We still have a big name or two. And, of course, some of these other players with their internet handles may ultimately be big names that we don't know about yet. We see Castaban just flopped us straight.
But
so
not going to get any action here, unfortunately.
Says you. Says
okay.
you.
What's the bet? How much you want to bet?
Bet is I want to bet your car.
That's fair.
If I lose, you get your car. You get it. We didn't actually agree, but I'll give it to you anyway.
Thank you.
I'm a sporting type.
You are kind. You are kind.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
All
right, so let's play out this. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it looks like we probably have 3 tables of 6 left since there's 18 players left, according to our numbers here. See, Stake Kings is not the chip leader, actually third in chips at the table. And Castaban, who just won that pot, is the really big chip leader. And besides that, you got three stacks under $1 million. I like seeing these different stack sizes peppered about. It creates for interesting strategic spots.
Big Train is reconnecting. That's lame, man. Get some internet.
It'd be lamer for Big Train if he had or she had aces. You know,
yes,
that would be rougher.
I've been there. I've been there like with making the nuts on the turn and disconnecting and like scrambling to make a personal hotspot from my phone so that I can play the nuts on the turn.
Yeah, we've all been. I mean, anyone who's played significant amounts of online poker has like had the nuts on the turn or the river and been timed out. Well, like the huge pot, especially in cash, although it sucks either way. But in a cash game, to have that happen is just you want to pull your freaking hair out. Let me say.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so rough. It's like I had Broadway and it was the nuts and the guy raised. Come on. Like 4-way pot, something crazy. The pot's huge and you just watch it time out. Oh.
But so in this tournament, we had a lot of big names going deep. Elke and Daniel Negreanu both recently busted. Neither of them made it here.
So did Brandon Adams. Adams, who had won, of course, the Harvard professor, who a lot of people may know, won a bracelet, used to be a staple on Poker After Dark, I would say. He was around a lot.
And High Stakes Poker. He was on High Stakes Poker a lot, too.
Yeah. Pretty intense dude, seemingly. I've never met him, but I'll just roll with that.
I mean, he just doesn't smile very much. Is that what you're referring to?
I guess so. He also looks like, in another life, he could have been a hockey player if we just a little bit thicker.
A hockey player.
Yeah, that face. He looks like he wants to check someone into eternity.
Yeah. We got a flop here. We got a queen high flop for Maniac. It's getting gonna get a little bit of action here from Stake Kings with the middle pair top kicker. Checks it back. Interesting. And
really
gets the nightmare card.
Luckily for man 1-4C, it's that's right. That's what I'm calling him. It's a scare card for Stake Kings as well. And
Can you go for value? Can you reasonably go for value here on the river? Oh, look, Stake Kings is going for some sort of blocker bet.
Yeah. He's trying to get called by an 8 or a worse 10. Although what worse 10? I guess King 10. King 10 isn't crazy. I think it's fine to go for 2 blinds there.
Well, it turns out it wasn't fine.
It was totally fine. I believe that Maniac probably would have bet the river anyway for about that amount, give or take, don't you think?
Yeah, we don't know enough about the players to know.
You're right.
But
we really don't. But it's reasonable to do that. How about
yes.
I would have gone for value there.
Mr. Fabulous moves in here. I believe Mr. Fabulous will be getting called by Stake Kings.
I don't think we're going to see him move in, though, with King 3. I think Mr. Fabulous can do a little bit better. Yeah. If it was suited, maybe. Now Stake Kings has probably 2. I guess you can just ship it. I mean, it's a lot, but I guess you can just ship it. Just going to play it more normal. There's Castaban. Could he be thinking about a 3-bet here? Well, that's not a flop Stake Kings wanted to see at all.
We're going to take a little closer look at this here table without our faces. Look how beautiful.
Saving everyone a little bit of trouble. by not having our faces out there. So that's good.
No stab there from Stake Kings. Castaban could take this pot away.
Kind of expect a Castaban to go for it here, personally. Got that draw and all the chips. Put some pressure on. There we go. Voila, like magic. Do you think that's Castaban's poker nickname, the Magic Man? That's a good name.
I'm going to go with Castaban is Castaban's poker nickname.
Oh, come on.
We're going to bring our beautiful faces back so we get all the information.
Okay. How about abracadabra? Castabracadabra. That's tough. That's hard to say.
Castabatab.
Yeah, see, it's really challenging. It's not anyone's fault.
You know what? You know what?
What?
You know what? You're right.
Oh. That ended way nicer than I expected.
Well, I got to throw a curveball every once in a while.
So
Castaban just moves in. This is a tough spot for I'm So Weak. I mean,
I think it's just a fold.
It's a lot of bigs to call
16?
off with ace deuce, but he does call off.
Wow, knows his customer.
Well, more to dodge now. Any
9,
10, or 6.
10. Squeeze it slow.
It's a 5.
It's safety. Home dry. That's what the kids are saying now when they survive the all-in. Home dry.
Home dry?
Yeah, I got home without getting wet. Home dry.
Home dry. All right, this is going to be good enough for Mr. Fabulous.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get any callers. Big train with ace-9 off could, but it's the majority of big train stack. Mr. Fabulous is in relatively early position for a 6-handed table, I guess, but I don't see Castaban calling with 2 players behind.
No way. No way. A big train could call this, but I doubt it because, like you said, it's for too much of his stack.
Yeah,
I like the fold. I think the fold's right there. You still have 12 blinds. You're rarely in fabulous shape against Mr. Fabulous, which is a great name, by the way. We're not even talking about how incredible that name is. Mr.
It is a
Fabulous. So Castaban, all options are really available here.
Yeah, I don't think folding is a good one. I think it's basically a 3-bet that is like willing to get in with Stake Kings or a call. We do see the call.
Calling is rough, though. I mean, I guess you have position, and you can't fold on boards like this. You just can't.
No. Might even move in if Stake Kings bet, but no.
Yeah, Castaban definitely can't play this hand for set mining value only if you're going to call when Stake Kings. The effective stack is just too short to do that. So.
Nice little tiny bet. I like it.
I just feel like you're getting pushed around, man. It just sucks.
Well, that's part of life at this stage of the tournaments, as we've seen in many of our streams.
Yeah, the big stacks prey on the weak so often. In the Millionaire Maker this weekend, Daniel Dvorak came into the final table as the overwhelming chip leader and maintained that throughout almost the entire final table. Did ultimately win and moved in some ungodly amount of times.
Oh, really?
Now, usually everyone was below 20 blinds when he was doing that, and often even below 15, but still.
It's easier to do that if you routinely play 100K buy-ins like Dvorak does.
I think so. He really used... There was a guy who folded his big blind when he had 1 blind back and then folded a small blind. And had half a blind going into the button. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm So Weak is going to get looked up on this flop. Looks like I'm So Weak is trying to exploit the money fears that occur at this stage of the tournament by opening the Jack-6 in the first place. That's a pretty bad card for I'm So Weak to continue on. Mr. Fabulous does have deuces in the range on the min raise. Suited deuces, at least.
Yeah, I'm So Weak, you figure, would really only continue with a king and bluffs here, pretty much.
Ooh,
oh, but a sweet
gets
river.
There.
So sweet. The 3-outer. And it's not even a spade. Now, Mr. Fabulous can't really bet for value here.
No, and if Mr. Fabulous doesn't somehow find a way to win this hand, this is going to be a really short stack for Mr. Fabulous.
Yeah. I'm not sure about picking on the shortest stack at the table when they're in the big blind with a terrible hand. I mean, I guess if you know that they're folding a lot, I guess it's
Yeah.
fine. Or if you're gonna river the jack, that's another good reason to do it. You just know that. Here's Castaban really opening it up.
Castaban definitely has the stack of the player who should be opening it up.
Yeah. I think this is a sign that we're going to see Castaban raise pre-flop all the time.
Yep.
If he's opening king 3 under the gun, that's a sign. All hands are in play.
Gets the flat from sixes out of stake kings. Could have shoved, but also it's not great the range you're getting called by when you shove with sixes there, and you don't have any blockers.
Yeah, and Castaban hadn't been raising every hand yet. Like,
right.
He had folded the hand right before it, for example. So it's possible that Castaban just decided to start doing this right now. There's a $7,000 money jump.
Well, I think Mr. Fabulous
that's not until 13th.
Yeah, I think Mr. Fabulous is gonna get this through in this hand. Oh, maybe folds. We'll see. This one's close.
It's close
with no real fold equity.
7 blinds, no fold equity, queen high, but you kind of need to gamble too, don't you?
Let's it go though.
It's close. I can understand letting it go, but there's also no money jump for 3 or 4 spots. We're probably supposed to gamble there.
I think you're right.
Take the perceived flip. Turns out it's way better than that, but I can understand how much it sucks to have queen high there.
Yeah. And it's World Series of Poker event. You just don't want the experience to end.
I mean, this is a $1,500 buy-in too. This is the money is pretty darn big in this one. We've done a number of events. This is the biggest first place prize we've seen.
Yeah. 444,000, almost 445,000 for first.
The prizes we've seen up to now are almost always around $300K for first. So this is really significant. And I mean, these guys are so close and yet so far away from that kind of big money. It's like $16,000, almost $17K. It's nice on a $1,500 buy-in for sure.
Mr. Fabulous does go for it with a jack-9. I don't think I'm so weak can call out of the small blind with that hand. So gonna get it through.
Maybe in the big blind, maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
That's a pretty big deal. Get it through for Mr. Fabulous. I mean, just winning that pot gives you just a little bit more fold equity, a little bit more wiggle room.
Buys you another orbit also because blinds are coming around right now. It's really tough for Mr. Fabulous too, where they're 6-handed. So it's just going to be this constant need to get it in pretty regularly, which is why that queen jack fold is questionable, because you just kind of need to find a double at some point. You got to take the gamble at some point.
Yeah, you can't just fold everybody out every time you're all in until you eventually somehow have 30 big blinds. That's not how it's going to work.
Seems very unlikely. Well, maybe someone will decide to pick on Mr. Fabulous. I would expect Castaban to open this.
If not, maybe I'm so equal, considering the Jack-6 open last time in this exact spot, but no. And Castaban is 3Xing. Interesting.
He's trying to commit himself if there's a shove, or at least pass that message that he's committed. Well, we're going to find out how committed he is.
I mean, of course, this is mathematically going to have to be a call.
Of course, but we've seen people make really big folds before in the World Series.
Yeah.
Of course, this should be a call. I expect him to call. Yeah, he does.
And it's not as good of news for Ace Queen as it could be.
It's really not too bad. Although that's a great flop for Ace Queen. Well, just got to dodge a jack or a king here. And he does it. There's the double.
Big double up.
Almost $1 million now.
Oh, Big Train had a 4. Good information.
Well, whap. Whapping himself in the head.
Yeah, it's a good whap.
4.
You got to whap sometimes.
One of the fun things about doing this is watching some of the players discover all the emojis. As we get down to the last few tables, they start playing with them. Like Kristen Bicknell did that a few weeks ago when she won her bracelet, and clearly was going through them all, seeing what they look like as the final table is going.
Just having a little fun.
Pretty great. Yeah. Mr. Fabulous with some breathing room now.
Stake King's now under 10 bigs, as is Big Train's in the danger zone now, with the blinds being up to 60K for the big.
Stake King's just played a few pots post flop and bam, got got his or her stack cut in half.
Joey Gleese says running hot. That's one of the commonly used emojis by the players.
For sure.
In our last final table we did, one of the players kept doing the good game one before the river card came when the all-in player was behind. We have a bit of a confrontation here.
There's the call. It's a reasonable call.
And as an ace, but there are 3 diamonds.
Well, always
25%.
Hope. Give it to him. Let him stick around. Why not? Nope. Not
Yeah, it could be. No, it's not a diamond. It's a club. It's a very slow club.
And, it's so good to get it in blind versus blind with 2 10s.
Sorry.
World Series event. 17 left, but you know, it's a long road of pain.
And there's the gray void that is basically descriptive of all of our lives.
You see Neil Farrell still, and he's at least of the players that we know of, some of these guys have interesting internet handles, so we're going to learn who they are when they make the final table. Everyone's name becomes available. He's the one who we know of who's the most famous player left anyway.
Yeah, Neil Farrell without a stack at all, though, 400K. It would be fun to watch him with the stack because he is the real MAN14C when it comes to poker. He really goes for it.
He does. I think Galen Hall was in this for a while too, but like pretty late, but no more. Also a crazy dude who makes one of the best folds I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
CA heads up against Chris Oliver. Anyway, hello, Damon. Good to see you, man. Still remember when we both had that big run in, I'm going to say it was the Monster Stack that time. I think it was the Monster Stack.
And hello to the person from Japan. I'm sorry I can't read Japanese characters and know how to pronounce that. Welcome to
the stream, everybody. Get ready for some high flying. Chris C says good evening. Yeah, you say hi to us, we say hi back.
We're gonna have some slam dunks on here. We're gonna have some really sweet behind the back passes. Luka Doncic is gonna make an appearance.
Yeah, we do have Luka coming on. Yeah. Just do a little extra poker analysis down the road.
And
so
do
keep
some
your
dribbling.
eyes peeled.
He's going to do some dribbling.
A dribbling exhibition.
Yeah.
So we figure that'll bring in some more viewers from, who might not normally be watching poker. That's why we paid Luka all that money to come on from the Disney bubble.
We need the Slovenian audience.
Yeah, I think it's a well-spent $250,000. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
We will.
So... Malacca sauce.
Malacassos, I'm going with. Malacassos.
I like that. It sounds way better than anything I was saying. Malacassos makes the fold. Getting a great price, but very short.
Yeah, typically a defend, but that just kind of inches away your fold equity for when you do eventually get it in if you call and then whiff the flop, and that's just poopy. We don't I think poopy spots.
Perfectly fine fold. Chris C says, good evening. Hello. Michael Mosley says, love the book. Thanks, guys. You're welcome. We're glad you love the book. For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, it's our book. How Can He Fold? It's on Amazon. You can go to thepokerguys.net if you want to find it as well. It's really good.
Oh, we got a Laotian viewer, too. I mean, we got the whole world. Except for Slovenia. We'll get them, though.
But, yeah, we're still trying. We're working on that. We have people working on that right now.
Here's I'm So Weak again. It seems that the name is accurate, always with a weak holding.
This is a great time to be picking on everybody, though.
It is.
With the deuce 5 off. But I think this really gives us a sense of what I'm So Weak is going to be doing for a while if he's opening the deuce 5 off in the frickin' hijack.
What are the chances? What are the chances, by the way, that the player who voluntarily named themselves Vape Nation is currently wearing a flat brim hat with the sticker still on it?
Not as high as you would think. Like
oh, really?
1%? 31%.
Okay.
What would you say?
63.
Oh,
more than double. More than double what you said.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that math to me. That's really
Speaking
helpful.
of math, we have we're at 5.5 minutes on break here.
Yeah.
And where we got? Here we got 16 players remaining. We got 445K for first. That's exciting. I'm sure the players are all excited about that amount of money, but it feels in spots like this, it feels so close and still so very, very far away because
Oh man.
things you have to play well. Most of the time you have to play well. Things have to go right. That's the most important thing at this stage. You know, you're going to enter some flips that the expected value on the outcome is tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It gets a little stressful.
Just to put it in perspective too. So they've currently locked up about $17,000. If they can just get to, seven players left, they'll lock up $63,000. It's so much more money. It's like 4 times as much money almost. And you just have to outlast 10 more people at this point, considering how many you've already outlasted. There were 2,153 players who entered this event, but all the money is here. All the decisions matter the most right now. And of course, top 5 and better, you're talking about 6-figure scores. There's a lot of money to be won in this one, as there should be in a $1,500 World Series event, in fairness.
I think 5 is the most players we've had paid out at 6 figures also so far of the streams that we've done.
It makes sense that it would be.
Yeah, so this is the GG Masters. What does that mean, Jonathan? Because I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, well, there's the Masters Poker Tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
I think you just made that up.
There is a Masters Poker Tournament. Tiger Woods has won it. Multiple other players have won it.
Yeah,
every
Tiger
year.
Woods.
It's part of the Golf Grand Slam. So you're wrong. How does that feel?
Great.
My guess is because there's the Poker Masters that Poker Go had been doing for a long time. They actually did an online version as well, and so kind of like the GG Masters.
They're just following the convention there, but it's also a World Series of Poker bracelet event, so that's interesting.
Yeah. They try and come up with naming conventions. That's been a big thing for the World Series for the last 6 or 7 years now, ever since they came up with the Millionaire Maker, and it was a huge hit. Every year, as I know, there's a new cool event that is a lower buy-in event, right? That's like a 1,500 or less event with a cool name that gets everyone to want to go there, and they've really done very, very well with this as a marketing ploy. I mean, it's crazy how the World Series has changed with some of these weekends.
It's actually quite impressive. Hey, Kevin Mather's going to let us know. It's their weekly $150 freeze out with a 500 guarantee prize pool weekly on GG. So basically they're using this as an opportunity to let people know about that, I guess.
Huh. Well, that's weird, but okay. So this is maybe in place of that?
Yeah, I guess, because they have the GG Masters 150 bracelet event that's running concurrently with this. They have the 1,500.
This is just the high roller GG Masters event. That's all. That makes sense. All right. Thank you, Kev Math.
He knows everything.
Someone knows what's going on around here. We basically just ask questions and hope the internet explains it to us. I'm waiting for that quality AI,
Nah, we don't need an AI if we have Kev Math as far as the World Series of Poker is concerned.
Kev Math may be an AI, and even he would.
I mean, I've seen him walking the halls of the Rio, so.
Yeah, we could all be software buddy. So there's a lot going on in the chat window, and I feel it's important to talk about some of it. A lot. Damon Santori says, can't believe they made them all bracelet events. Bracelet just doesn't hold value anymore. I want to start by just addressing that for a second. I kind of agree with Damon here. It used to be that winning a bracelet was a big deal. There were like 25, 30 events a year. Now we're like 80 events. Also, the World Series Europe counts as a bracelet too now, apparently. Everything counts. Give out so many bracelets. I think the idea of winning a bracelet, while important, it has been cheapened a little bit. But that money is still sweet, and spends just as well, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. I think for me, what diminished it a little bit is when they started all those deep stack things just last year, 2019, where it was like the deep stack series bracelet events which were like $400, $600, and $800 buy-ins that were typically 30-minute level bracelet events, and they drew massive fields. Of course, it was highly profitable for the World Series, but it felt less prestigious, and it felt less like they were like keeping the patina on the World Series of Poker name. It felt a little bit tarnishing.
I mean, once they started going to, $1,000 buy-ins and $1,500 buy-ins regularly instead of just having a few of them, I feel like they were like, they don't care. I don't think they care. The brand is very strong.
Yeah.
Still in the face of all this. Honestly, we have a friend. I mean, we both have multiple friends who've won bracelets, actually. One of our good friends, actually a few of our good friends have won bracelets. It's very cool that they won, but when I think of our friend Mitch, for example, who won the Monster Stack in 2016, I don't think the thing that I remember the most about that is that he won $1.1 million, not that he won a bracelet. Like,
Yeah,
to me, the
I
$1.1
agree.
million is
But I also don't think the Monster
really
Stack.
important thing with
I
that.
also don't think the Monster Stack and Millionaire Maker are the ones diminishing the brand. At least for me, it's more the really cheap buy-in ones that draw the massive fields, but just simply because of how cheap they are.
Get ready, because there's going to be a $50 buy-in online event, which we're doing the final table of in a few weeks, and that's going to be certainly the biggest online major event in the history of poker. Certainly.
It feels a little different because it's online. Like online already kind of feels like asterisky about it a little bit.
Yeah, but it's $50. I mean, they've also did the $100 one already. There's a $150 one right now. Oh, well. Anyway, we're back.
Either way, I mean, not to poop on the series. It's like it's an incredible thing, and I love it every year. It's great. Just want to say that.
I mean, we're here doing the commentary. We're happy to be doing it, right? We're excited to be doing it. So it isn't about that, but it's important to, keep it real, man. Keep it 100. That's what we do.
Yeah, that really sounded normal coming out of your mouth. How's Neil going to play this one?
I think this plays really well as a stop and go. I don't know if he's going to do it, but he doesn't really have fold equity. So I kind of like it as a stop and go better, but he's deciding just to get the full double if he's going to get there.
Perhaps he doesn't need to stop and go because the hand is a little too good to need to stop and go. You can get called by worse hands a lot of the time. No help so far except for two clubs. Ooh, that's a good card for Neil.
Wow. A lot of outs. Neil decides how slow this card's coming. It is not paint.
Nope.
It is not a
Goodbye to Neil Farrell. That was short-lived for us, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, longer for him. He's been playing for almost 12 hours. But for us, we only saw him for a little bit. So
Chris C says he cashed in the Giant, so he's in all caps taking all of this personally. I can respect that you cashing in the Giant is like a very important piece of your identity, and nobody should be allowed to attack it. And I'm sorry.
I mean, it might be. You don't know. The Giant is was it 365? I think was the buy.
I think that's right.
It was every Friday night for like 6 weeks, and then they
and then everybody had to come back for the like day 2 and on play. That's right.
I almost played in that once, but then I was like, ugh, it just feels like.
Doesn't it also like start at 8 p.m. or something, and then
it's just like Friday night,
super turbo,
which seems awful.
Yeah,
you played till like 3 a.m. or something like what?
And then there's and usually on Saturday there's one of those good 1500s to play, so you don't want to be all tired for that.
That said, I know Wonka played in many, many flights of the Giant and said it was amazing. I believe.
Yeah.
Anyway. JP says, did everyone know Brad Booth has been missing since mid-July? I think he is fleeing from debts or something bad happened to him. Yeah, definitely one or the other. I would guess something bad happened to him rather than fleeing from debts, but I don't know anything. I know he's had debts in the past, but he's never disappeared before.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Yeah. I am very concerned about him at this point. It's been since, like you said, mid-July. I think it's like July 16th or something. Not many people show up after they've been missing that long. So I almost hope he's fleeing debts at this point, because otherwise I think the news is probably not good. So I hope for the best, of course. Yeah. There's been a lot of weird things. Damon points out the Susie Q thing too, where Susie Zhao was burned by someone.
We don't need to talk about the details, but she was, yeah.
Anyway, just awful things. Anyway, let's try and enjoy this instead. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have brought that up.
It is dark.
It is super dark. Super dark.
But hey, we're here to enjoy some poker.
Yeah.
Except not really for this hand, because there's no enjoyable hands in the bunch.
We'll see, man. Mr. Fabulous. They don't call him Mr. Fabulous because, he doesn't make good plays post flop.
He named him. He named himself, right? So.
Do you know that? Are you sure about that?
Maybe his kid named him. Maybe he has a kid, and his kid was like, "Your name is Mr. Fabulous."
That would be cool. Maniac could just shove here. Maniac should just shove. There we go.
Yeah,
I like
seems
it.
Normal and reasonable.
Mr. Fabulous. Let's see if he makes a great fold or not. If he can get away from it, Grant.
Yeah, incredible. All right, back to basketball in the chat. That's more like it.
After the World Series is over, Grant and I will be doing NBA playoff games on TNT. We're really excited to announce that, but we're sticking with the World Series until then. Going to give Reggie Miller and company a break. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Should be fun.
We gotta get, we get to live that bubble life.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm actually excited for Space Mountain on Disney. Really.
Well, we're gonna be doing the commentary from Space Mountain. It's an experimental gig.
Ah! It should be great. Also, Epcot Center. I mean, that's the future, bro.
I mean, that's like all the countries and a big white
and
dome.
The future. It's the future, not just the countries. Anyway, kind of nothing
Mark
going on.
Testart, by the way. Mark Testart on. Must be.
Oh, yeah.
Time is inverted in Australia, so I don't understand what time it is. It's like Lebedy 07 or something. But whatever time it is in Australia, Mark, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Mark, quick question. I read that the Coriolis effect, which supposedly is about how, the water goes down the toilet the opposite direction, is actually not true. And then actually it goes down the same way. It goes down, what do we have? It's clockwise for us. It goes down clockwise for you as well. Can you confirm that? Because I don't know if I believe everything I read on the internet anymore. I need an actual Aussie to tell me.
Aussie. They pronounce it Aussie.
Give me your best Australian accent here as we have.
I choose not to.
Why? Are you afraid of offending one guy? Mark Testart, he's a lawyer. What's the problem?
Oh, 2043 in Australia. I thought you meant 2043 the hour, not 2043 the year. Now I get it. Now I get the joke. That's good stuff, Testart. That's why you're the best. All right.
He's the best start.
Man 14C going to open here. I don't think we're going to see any action here unless I'm So Weak decides to make up an aggressive action with the Queen 8 suited. Probably not going to flat, I would expect.
Yeah. Little axers. Nothing doing. I like that cat, though. That cat icon. It's pretty sweet. Because it looks so gingerly and safe. You wouldn't realize it's going to strike. Just like a real cat.
What are you talking about? We need to get some hands with some action here, or Levy's going to just lose it.
We've been waiting so long to start this stream. We've been waiting all day.
This was a bit of a late starter.
Hours ago.
This is a bit of a late starter.
Just been sitting around. I've been sitting around checking and not really doing anything because just in case. And so yeah, it's all a lot of built up stuff, a lot of pent up energy over here.
And then like cousin Jimmy Farha is saying, everybody is card dead. So can't release that energy with some sweet poker analysis yet.
Not yet, but it's coming. So we're going to see if little Axer's going to, I think that's the right place to fold there, but some players are just going to start shoving there. Still a few spots away from any money jumps. Pablo with sevens in the small blind.
I wonder if Malacasos will call if it inevitably folds to Pablo and Pablo shows. I guess Mr. Fabulous could move in here. It's possible.
I think it's between Mr. Fabulous and Malacasos. Decide what to do. Pablo, I guess if Mr. Fabulous moves in, Pablo might find a fold.
Might. I don't know about shoving the ace-6 off with 4 players behind in this stack. Yeah, I kind of like the fold there.
Pablo clearly going to get it in now. And will Malacasos call? You're supposed to. Snapsuch says to call, of course, but it's a little different with the money jumps and everything in line. I think you're supposed to call anyway, really, when you're this short.
So lovely to get Jack 10 suited, but this is not the scenario where you feel really great about it.
Of course not.
And there is the fold.
And,
Fold equity is a big deal. I mean, being the one who shoves when you have the stack Malacasos has is a big deal. Makes a huge difference.
Yep, still does have some fold equity, just barely, but six blinds even if assuming Malacasos doesn't win this pot in this hand, 6 blinds is enough to get through from any position at the table, just barely. can get people to make some reasonably big laydowns, like ace 8, ace 9 in early position.
I believe that is a Gandhi avatar, Steve Kagan.
Oh, yeah. For sure, that's a Gandhi avatar. That's similar to the cat avatar in that it looks peaceful, but then strikes.
Is that what Gandhi does? I didn't know that. Have you been reading like a alternate history graphic novel about a fighting Gandhi?
It's in the same article that about the Coriolis effect, all going the same way actually, and not affecting the flushing of the water. Also said that Gandhi actually was I think it was a blue belt, which is above a green belt but below a black belt. And it turns out, by the way, black belt is not mastery, which I also thought it was, but I learned that in the same article. There's a lot of stuff in this article. I'm going to send it to everyone. I'm going to post it. Don't worry.
That sounds like a really good article. I can't wait for you to keep talking about it forever.
There's nothing going on. Everyone's just, it's a lot of chilling right now. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, so what are the chances? What are the chances that somebody has written a graphic novel that is Gandhi who fights?
I would say over 90%. Without knowing. I don't know that, but I would guess almost certainly. Giant Robot Gandhi, by the way, sounds amazing, and I would like to watch that and read that. Mark just starts giving me a little trouble, but I can't even say what he's saying because then it makes it worse. But everyone. Anyway, here's Fake Nation.
We might actually see a flop. It's possible.
I think there's a reasonable chance. Maniac, though, if I was Maniac, I would just raise this. But I'm a crazy person. And it's certainly reasonable to check. All right, let's see who wants it more.
Nobody wants it more.
Check it back. Fake Nation's hand might be just a little too good to bet.
It's not that
Maniac's, good. I know, but like Queen High, sometimes it's good enough, but how are you going to get Maniac to check it all the way down? Well, I guess you should go for value here when Maniac checks twice, right? You hope Maniac has a 4.
You'd expect Maniac to bet a 4 for equity denial most of the time.
Yeah. But you'd expect Maniac to bluff anything that wasn't at least an ace. I mean, it's hard for... I really don't know what to put Maniac on when he checks both times and doesn't raise and doesn't bet, Like, is he supposed to have something when he keeps checking?
But that
just
was not the
He's
case.
just not interested.
As we saw, that was not the case.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. You shouldn't always try and steal.
A lot more garbage, except for the big blind Mr. Fabulous. Maybe he can get lucky and Maniac will shove.
Not impossible. Not impossible. If Maniac lives up to the name, to the moniker, we will see some chips flying, much like the Chinese throwing stars that Gandhi is an expert at
in the
using.
Graphic novel that Jonathan Levy wrote in 1994?
Called Batlin Gandhi and his Howling Commandos. Yeah.
I want to learn more about those guys, but we'll save that for another stream. Little Axers. This could be a shove. I mean, it's typically a shove. And then he's going to get looked up by the other short stack, Malakasos, who with ace-king, unless we see a very unorthodox fold for Malakasos.
That would be bloody awful. See, I was doing my Australian accent there. And I can't imagine.
That was an Australian accent.
Sure. Why not? There we go.
And Little Axers is going to be in big trouble. Going to need some sort of heart flush, straight, or jack.
Really praying for ace queen or 2 9s here if you're Little Axers. Maybe even like ace 10 I guess is even better. But those are the things you'd be expecting. And bad news is that.
Well,
that does not. Well,
an 8 or a 6. Yeah.
6, 8, or jack. That's all he's got. That is not going to do it. It's a club. It can't be an 8.
Right.
And not eliminated, but it ain't great.
I'm not gonna bet on Axers to make it too much farther at this point.
That's because you don't believe in the little guy. But I'm gonna say, all right, I like Axers' chances.
It has the best hand right now.
Yeah. See. It's gonna be a cold night in Axers' living room if I'm so weak ends up busting with 7 deuce off against
Eh,
ace nine, but
it's life.
I don't know what that means.
Sometimes
It's
you bust
life.
with ace nine against seven deuce. You know, you gotta
Not
live.
very often. Doesn't come up very often where you bust against seven deuce.
Doesn't happen that often, I guess.
Yeah,
Play enough online tournaments, maybe.
a little bit. Sure. I definitely had a guy once in a tournament where I moved in, and then a guy moved in behind me, and then the big blind thought forever and finally called with seven deuce and busted both of us.
Yeah, powerful play.
Here we go. By the way,
Seven on the
well,
flop, but also an ace and a nine. It's gonna
that's a
need to
good
be a seven on the
two
river.
outs. Don't do it. It's not fair. Let him live.
It's not
All
a seven.
right.
And Little Axer is gonna get to stick around for at least one more hand.
And look who's got 2.5 blinds. Little Axers.
Really glad I didn't make a bet.
I know. Look at this.
Well,
Little Axers with almost the best hand, except third best. And probably going to get it in really bad. Oh my God. He could get in. Is he going to get in against both those players and need running fours or the wheel? Possibly.
yes, maybe a diamond flush.
Yeah, diamond flush will do it. Well, one thing at a time, Little Axers.
Cousin Jimmy Farr asking where the next WSOP will be held. I guess it was supposed to be at the Rio this year, even though everybody in the world last year was saying that was the last year at the Rio. So who knows what to believe? Because people who really seemed to know what they were talking about and were in positions that should have known were saying it's definitely the last year at the Rio. And then before the pandemic this year, they were just like, is it the Rio again? So I don't know.
I think it's because I remember we were all saying, but how are they going to do parking on the strip? It's going to be crazy because they were saying like Planet Hollywood and Caesars, they were going to split it up, and it seemed like it was going to be horrible. Like getting in and out was going to be impossible, and it seemed like they were like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So Little Axers does get it in drawing about as dead as you can get it. Well, pre-flop anyway here.
We could have a double elimination if an ace or a king flops or turns or rivers, which is not going to happen. We got a six on
a six.
Yeah, so
that's it.
It's going to be a three-way victory for the Canadian, the fighting Canadian, Mr. Fabulous.
Mr. Fabulous. Well, someone had to win. I'm glad it was Mr. Fabulous. That is the coolest name, at least at this table.
What about Vape Nation? That's clearly cool. What are you talking about?
It's trying too hard. By the way, we are now finally on an actual money bubble. With that elimination, we're now a $7,000 money bubble because we haven't been for a while. But
yep. Mehdi Mihel is watching in Norway. All right, good to have at least one Scandinavian country on board.
Well, at least one vocal one. Anyway, yeah, welcome to the stream, sir or ma'am, or both.
Vape Nation, what are you gonna do?
I think it's a call.
I think it's a call.
This hand's too good to fold, right? Yeah. Let's see a flop. All right. Great spot now. I'm So Weak has a pretty reasonable check back spot if he or she wants to. There it is.
I'm So Weak does. It's the most natural type of check back hand, middle pair on a dry board.
Especially when your middle pair is high enough up that you don't have to worry too much about overcards. Probably Vape Nation's going to start betting for value now. Yeah.
Definitely getting called once.
Absolutely.
It's going to be tough to get called twice. I wonder if Vape Nation bets again on the river.
I mean, if a non-spade comes.
Ooh. Oh, that's not a spade.
Gosh.
But I don't think Vape Nation will be betting. I think it's going to be a check, mostly call when I'm So Weak bets.
You could bet fold or you can check call. Those are both pretty reasonable options, I think.
What do you size it like if you're I'm So Weak?
I size kind of big. I think like 600. Try and get called by a queen or a hero when the spade's missed.
Yeah.
We have a spade in our hand.
Yeah, it goes a little smaller than that, but Vape Nation played it exactly like a queen. Could have other things too, but you might as well try to maximize your queen value here. And we get the fold. Wow.
Is that Vape Nation being too tight and too careful or having a great read on the situation? Hard to know after not seeing very many hands yet, but that was really I guess we have to call that an impressive fold. Yeah. I'm really surprised. I think I would have called there, but I would have been wrong.
I mean, yeah.
How about you?
Damon Santor asks, what is a bet targeting? I think referring to the prospect of Vape Nation betting. And that's a great question. I mean, it would have to be a pocket pair under the jack. mostly.
Or a 6 that a turn 6, but mostly a pocket pair under the jack. I agree. I think it's like 10s, 9s, 8s, stuff like that. That are definitely checking back, but we get value from sometimes when we bet when the spades miss.
Yeah, I think I prefer the
the
check
idea.
call line, which was my original thought.
Well, you give spades a chance to bluff, right? Of course, we had a spade in our hand. I don't know. I think it's fine either way.
You always like
makes
to
another great fold.
You always like to do game theory disaster bets, Levy, because of your limit hold'em background.
I believe, there's a lot of value to be had when you bet. People make really weird calls all the time, and we often try and figure these things out based on what an optimal calling range would be, and people often don't have optimal calling ranges. So I'm a little more. I widen that a lot in spots. You're right, because I think humans are not good enough at this stuff to not make really loose calls a lot of the time.
Maybe so, but at this stage of this tournament, probably most of these players are pretty good.
That's fair. But like if you have 2 10s there and then the jack pairs, are you definitely folding?
I don't know. It depends on what I think of the player and everything, but who knows?
The problem is you have queen 9, I'll say, for Vape Nation. Like if you had a better queen, the bet plays a little bit better, but you expect a better queen's betting anyway, so I guess it plays the same.
Vape Nation folds the king on the button, which is going to be good because Castaban probably. Maybe if Vape Nation shoved, Castaban would have folded. I'm not sure.
I would think probably. It is a pretty hand, though. Let's see if Maniac's a maniac. Or is this just lies?
It is a lie. Just like everything on the internet.
Except the Coriolis effect. It's hard to say that word, man. Coriolis.
So here's an example of how everything's a lie on the internet. You're talking about this whole article about Australia. Australia is not even a real country. How can you prove that it exists?
I've been to Australia.
Oh, you've been to Australia? You got on an airplane and flew through the sky. I'm sure you did.
Yeah. Grant, by the way, if you guys don't know, if you're new to this, Grant, very into conspiracy theories.
Oh, big time.
So. Thank you, Mark Testard. Finally going to flush his toilet in check. How do you not know which way the water goes? I don't understand.
Mark Testard, I know you're one of those Aussie bots. I know that you have been created to be a very friendly Australian on the internet to fool us.
Friendly to you, maybe. Anyway, here's Mr. Fabulous and Maniac. No one has anything. I like the aggressive action by Maniac.
Mehdi Mihil recently asked if is Vape Nation a pro player. I'm not sure which player it is. If Vape Nation makes the final table, we'll see the names.
I might be able to get some more information. I'm looking it up right now as we go. I might be able to get some information on Vape Nation. Actually, hold on. I have ways. Let's see. Vape Nation is Lucas Paridness. I don't know who that is, but I'm getting more data as we speak. According to Poker News, anyway, no big finishes. A Lithuanian player. Now, I'm not Hendon Lucas, so it's possible. Sometimes the Hendon mob stuff has a lot more data than the non-Hendon mob stuff. Why are you laughing?
Because I'm reading Serious Isness's comment. Australia fell off after we forgot to attach the ground harness.
It's so weird.
I don't know what a ground harness is, but I like I'm just going to assume it's something that everybody in Australia has, and it probably is associated with some sort of backyard trampoline. I don't know.
Sure, why not? Backyard trampolines are cool anyway, so it's fine. Poker Channel says, hi, you guys are godcasters. Ooh, I like that.
I think it's probably good.
I want to. Oh, good guy. I'm going with godcasters. And that could mean a few different things. I think that means like we're casting, like, not to get into dangerous territory.
Yeah, so let's not. Let's keep it PG as far as that's concerned.
Fun anymore. Anyway, top pair for Pablo. 2 backdoors only for I'm So Weak. Probably just gonna have to fold this being out of position. Yeah. Anyway, let me give you a quick half a sentence of poker analysis.
Yeah.
And get back to the real conversation.
Honestly, there hasn't been a ton of play to analyze.
There's some right now. Under the gun with sixes.
Could
9
fold.
blinds.
Could absolutely fold sixes here.
You got to ship 9 blinds with when you're 7-handed. I think that's crazy to fold.
Well, I think a lot of people would disagree with you, and we do see the fold.
That is crazy. Damon says Jonathan on a live stream is dangerous. I think that is true.
Yeah, of course it is.
I'm to be a little more careful. I'm going to try and not get us in any real trouble.
Have we ever had to pause?
I'm going to try.
Have we ever had to stop a podcast because of something that I've said? Has that ever happened?
No, only me. How many times do you think we stopped one for me? It's like not that many.
5-ish.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
One a year
in like
on
5
average.
years.
Yeah,
in like 5 years. For those of you who are wondering, what podcast is he talking about? Well, that's the Breakdown Poker Podcast with the Poker Guys. That's us. We're the Poker Guys. Kings against Queen 4 suited. This probably is going to be over in a hurry.
Oh, we got Team Jonathan for Michael Mosley. Well, Michael Mosley.
Oh yeah,
I'm Team anti-Michael Mosley now. If we're gonna go like that.
Team Jonathan is a scrappy underdog group. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Don't expect a call from Pablo here. Whenever I see Vape Nation, I'm always thinking of Parks and Rec. You know, the character played by Nick Kroll, where he's the radio host and his.
Oh yeah.
He's like, he calls his fans Douche Nation. So I just keep seeing Vape Nation. And actually, that sounds like some place that you could buy all sorts of different vape related products.
Well, yeah, of course it does.
Yeah.
It's like if it isn't that, it's a catalog to buy, vape products, right? Or it's just a t-shirt.
And if they have commercials, they would have somebody doing that in voiceover. For sure.
As opposed to someone doing it like with their face to the camera. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Hey, here's I'm so weak with ace queen.
Yeah, but who cares? Nobody has anything.
It's a 3-better.
Oh.
It's a 3-better to call. The Casaban's already opened. What are you talking about?
That makes
3-better
sense.
to call on the button here.
Still thinking about Vape
I think it's
Nation.
a call. I know. I think it's a call here with about 30 blinds effective. What do you think?
I do too. It puts you in a weird spot if you get 4-bet. You mostly just have to fold at this stage, and that sucks with ace queen.
The hand's too good to 3-bet fold. So you should either got a 4-bet go with it or call. And being on the button is kind of nice. Yeah, 3-bet fold. Like you 3-bet and then you end up folding.
And you have the cool situation of if Malacasso shoves out of the big blind and Castaban folds, you have an easy call also.
Yeah. There are squeezes you can in theory set up, although no one is squeezing at this table. We're not seeing anything like that. But well, ace-9 out flops ace-queen. How about that? I'm so weak's hand is probably a little too good to fold on this flop for a 1-bet, assuming it's a small bet.
I disagree. I think we'll see a
really?
fold. But we do see a check from Castaban, which makes sense.
Yeah. I'm so weak probably just going to check this back, right?
It's kind of a terrible flop for ace-queen. There's
no draw.
Not much going on.
But just trying to steal, or maybe just protect equity, I would say.
It's a big bet. Castaban must be a little uncomfortable with middle pair, assuming to expect future bets, which are not going to be easy to call unless you hit a 9 or an ace. And hey, just go ahead and hit the 9. Now it's really easy.
I'm so weak could really decide to rep this 9 and bet again.
Although Castaban's most likely holding is a 9 with that flop line, I think. A 9 or a 7. And 9s are more likely because...
Pocket 8s.
Sure, hands like that.
Well, I mean, a 9 is really different than pocket 8s in this, or a 7 in this example. But I feel you. Anyway, Casaban probably just going to go for value here, right? Hoping to get called by a 10 or a 7. Or pocket 8s.
I'm so weak looks like he has something like Jack 10, Queen 10 suited. It's probably good to go for value against that type of range. Not going to get any, though. I expect to fold. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, that hurts. That was a big flop bet for I'm so weak to not to lose all those chips on. Well, we got an ace-jack suited and pocket queens here, and this has got a really good chance of getting in the middle.
Yeah, do you think I'm so weak might just shove?
I do. I mean, Mr. Fabulous is less than 20 blinds deflected for Mr. Fabulous. Ace-jack suited feels like kind of a no-brainer shove, don't you think? I do.
I think it's relatively close actually, but I do think shoving is fine. I think you can flat with that hand in this scenario.
Really?
Yeah, I think because it's suited you have a lot more flops you can shove on if you get let into.
This feels like just such a cleaner, easier way to do it though.
Well, gonna get some bad news. I don't think we saw any aces folded, did we?
I am not aware of any aces. Well, the good news for I'm so weak is assuming Mr. Fabulous doesn't fold. If an ace comes on the flop, he gets the full double instead of just getting some. But otherwise, he's in a lot of trouble here.
This is a big pot. This is for second in chips. There is a jack and a diamond. That doesn't
That
help.
did not help.
Jack or an ace. It is a 10.
It's a 10. It's a straight for Mr. Fabulous. And Queen 10 wants everyone to know, Malakassos wants everyone to know that he would have chopped.
That is a massive blow to I'm So Weak stack.
Yeah. Now 2.5 blinds, not even 2.25 blinds. I guess you just got to go with Queen 9 here. This is probably as good as it's going to get. You
Either
got 2 more
Queen 9 or
hands.
one of the next 2 hands you get. You know, you got to
I'd
do
rather
it
just go with
before
Queen
you're in
9.
the big blind.
I think you're supposed to shove this because you already got 2 folds in front of you. There's only 5 of you to play. You're often going to get down to. You're not in this case because Vape Nation's got ace.
And I'm So Weak folds. I thought he was just going to use his entire time bank in case somebody at the other table busted, because we are on the money bubble.
That would have been that actually would have been a really smart play. That may actually be why I'm So Weak didn't shove, is because we're on this $7,000 bubble where if someone else busts at one of the other table, it's going to really matter. Anyway, I imagine we're just going to see the double all in here. Well, you say that, but we got four different suits in play.
I'll give you 9-1. I say it's a chop.
I'll take 9.2 to 1, and I will not accept anything less.
Okay.
You sucker. 9.1 was like past the EV moment, you dummy. You just fell right into my trap. Look at Malik Asgos really trying to get full value in case someone else busts. That's super smart. Use all that time.
Hearts.
Well, hearts are in play. Put up a heart there. For a sweat. Come on. A 7 would make it a chop, and so would any other card.
Great analysis.
Yeah. Just keeping it, full color for everybody. That's a new phrase I'm working on.
Full color.
I'm workshopping it.
If I'm So Weak goes with this one, not going to get it through the queens of Malakassos.
For sure. And also wouldn't get it through probably ace 8 or maybe even king 9. I think I'm So Weak has to shove this, though. King 6 suited? That's a good hand. You can actually win with that hand.
Well, we can't see what the lowest stacks are on the left over there because it's obscured. But if there is anybody who has as short of a stack as I'm So Weak or around there, maybe that's why on the $7,000 bubble, I'm So Weak is deciding to fold these hands. Gastaban could absolutely reshove here, isolate Malakassos with ace 8.
It's really close. Ace 8 is probably right on the line. I think ace 9 you probably have to go with. Ace 7 you often fold. I think we're right there. I think it's fine to go with it, though. What do you think?
Folds.
Casaman chooses not to.
We should brainstorm some other names for viral World Series of Poker tournaments, like the Millionaire Maker and the Monster Stack. We should brainstorm.
Oh, that's a great idea. How about like the Anteater? You playing the Anteater? That's a good one.
What's the gimmick?
Huge this year.
What's the gimmick on the Anteater?
When you make the final table, the only way you get paid once you bust is you have to actually drink a full 16 ounces of ants in a cup.
Oh, okay.
The Anteater. So it's weird because it means like a lot of the top pros just won't play it, but everyone else. There's obviously like they throw a lot of extra guaranteed money in there too to get people to want to play. Extra 10 million guaranteed.
I'll play.
I'm in for the Anteater. Also, aren't ants like nutritious in some way? Probably. Like you can live off ants for a while, right?
Sure. I've done it.
Anteater. Ante's in level 1, says Pat Wright. Pat Wright, good job. Thank you.
Yeah.
We need you guys. We're nothing without you guys. The Anteater. Yeah, Mackenzie got it too. Mackenzie Faulkner. Nice job. Okay, so we could call it everyone could call it the Anteater, but it's actually the Anteater, and it's an ante-only tournament. But it's like $1,000 buy-in, and they guarantee $1 million for first. Bam! Are you kidding? Be huge. That's actually a really good idea. They should do that. All right, this is gonna be
that's why we brainstorm.
Yeah.
To come up with these Anteater type ideas.
You got one?
Yeah, obviously I have one. It's just called the clam chowder giveaway. It's a $25,000 buy-in, but you get a free bowl of clam chowder as soon as you register. But you have to eat it while you're in the cage. You can't eat it when you have to stay in the cage room.
Okay, but the other thing that's important is there's no bathroom breaks. There's no breaks of any kind. So it's a war of attrition. Clam chowder giveaway. You get really interesting people registering for that one. I'll say that.
Castaban could open this, but and Castaban does open it, but it's pretty much a guaranteed call out of the big blind, which is okay with Jack 10. It plays okay against a random range.
There's some dead money. There's already 120K dead money in there as well.
It's certainly plus chip EV if your other opponents fold besides the big blind.
Yeah. I mean, Castaban also has a really easy decision if he gets 3-bet. He or she gets 3-bet. So I'm so weak. I was right. I was like, I don't know what he's thinking about, but we know. Just trying to really squeeze any extra folding out of other people. Did end up with the best hand of all the group of hands, by the way, with the ace high here. And it is the best hand as well, going to get it all in with. So that's pretty good.
We assume going to get it all in with, unless really trying to squeeze for that 7K money jump. And look, we see that a player has busted, it looks like. Oh, no. Never mind. I was looking at the wrong thing.
Okay.
I got excited.
Hold it against you.
That's good.
I'm so weak, would be so happy. But actually, got to be thrilled. Got to be thrilled right now to be up against Jack High. And a 4 would end it.
9, 10, or Jack.
9, Jack. I'm so weak.
It is a Jack. And that is it.
Ouch.
And so Castaban really used their one time on that pot, so certainly suboptimal to use your one time on that pot.
Hey, come on, $7,000 money jump. Can't be that bad. Vape Nation folds King Jack under the gun. We're six-handed here. That is a tight fold.
We can see now that the next money jump is when they reach the final table. It's going to be about a $9,000 money jump.
Yeah, and then the money starts to get real interesting real fast. All the way up to, what was it, 440K, something like that for first?
Mm-hmm. 445.
I think third place is $250,000, though. I mean, this is good stuff.
Almost 236.
Yeah, I'll round it up. Yeah, so they'll do that for you at the World Series cage when they'll round it up for you.
Yeah, you're like, I got fourth in the tournament for 44,000. They're like, here's 50.
Yeah, like, at first they ask you, like, do you want us to round it up? And if you say yes, then they will. Because people think of the World Series as being this capitalistic thing. It's not. Mr. Fabulous and Malakakos.
Whoa, Castaban opening the Jack 6 suited, trying to play big stack bully. Chose the wrong time to start that strategy.
This could be a very interesting hand now, depending on what Mr. Fabulous decides to do. Mr. Fabulous probably going to call here, right?
You're getting the right implied odds against Castaban. The problem might be the short stacks behind that could shove.
You're just going to have to call with 2 5s when they shove, I think. But I think you decide to set mine against the other big stack at the table when in position with 2 5s isn't crazy.
But just lets it go.
Wow, likely saves a solid 700,000 in chips there, most of the time anyway, because we know Malakakos ain't folding. Castaban is supposed to call once Malakakos shoves. We'll see if Castaban does, though. We'll be getting 2.5 to 1 on the call. Almost.
It's a good price, but it's a really bad hand.
Yep, but you are getting, against most of the range, you are getting a good enough price here. Not against this part of it.
And you shouldn't be worried about revealing that you're playing bad hands to your opponents because folding will indicate that anyway.
I mean, Malakakos obviously has to have a good hand here, though, right? Like Malakakos never has
does fold.
Ace 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
it's
just
like
hoping
Ace Jack or better.
You're hoping for Ace King basically if you call.
Yeah. Ace King, Ace Queen, maybe Ace 10 once in a while if you're really lucky. So fair enough. Castaban makes it a good fold. I don't know if I like it mathematically, as John Robert Ballon might say, but it was correct.
Expect an open for Pablo.
Christie's calling it the communist series of poker where they round up for you. I mean, I don't know if that's communist. It's capitalism, man. This is how they keep people coming back, right? They keep people buying the tickets because they give you a little more than is advertised. Everyone wins.
It's like all those free pennies you get to take when you go to the convenience store.
It's just like that. You just pick them up, you put them in your pocket, you're out. It's awesome. There's also a lot of money in those bank machines.
Hey, let's talk about this.
Wow.
Pablo limped.
Wow.
With 12 blinds. Reminiscent sort of that weird Sam Greenwood play with Ace Queen.
Except it was Ace Queen.
Yeah, but it's the stack size and the limp are reminiscent.
Right, but ace queen could handle a raise, and this can't. I think this is fascinating.
Castaban could put it in here, but it's a little scary, the limp. I would be kind of scared of the limp.
I would assume it was an overpair, and now I'd be like, well, if he has aces, he has aces, because now I can't fold for 11 blinds.
Yeah, this is a bad flop for Pablo. I expect Pablo to take a stab on this drive of board, but does not. Picks up the gut shot.
Now he can bet, too. He can bet the turn if it checks again, which I got to believe Casaban's going to check. Pablo can semi-bluff and really look like he's going to have some fold equity.
Yeah, I don't know what Castaban would be aiming at if he was betting here. You're mostly just folding out all the worst hands and getting called by all the better ones. Now, maybe he can get called by Queen Jack, but that is
shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I don't like this bet. Not a big fan of this bet.
Either. I agree. This feels like a very clear check call. He's just blocker betting because he's afraid he's going to get bluffed off the pot, which honestly he probably would have been. And now he may get to win the pot. So I guess it's going to work out practically. But from a theory point of view, it feels like, yeah, you're setting yourself up for all worse hands are folding, pretty much all of them, and pretty much all better hands are not. That's a problem.
Hey, we're already down to 11 players. I guess there were a couple short stacks on the other table as well.
Cool. Maybe that's what, I'm So Weak was waiting for. And now Mr. Fabulous deciding to open it up a little bit here with the king deuce under the gun. You know what they say? Early position is the new late position, Grant. Easier to steal from early position than late position. Although that's not true here at these tables, we notice. But
it's not true anywhere.
Okay, that's probably correct. But people said that for a while.
Well, your theory might be proved right if Malakasos folds king queen and Malakasos does fold king queen.
You know what they say?
Malakasos always folds king queen. That's what they say.
Yeah. Sure. Maniac could defend here. They're reasonably deep. It's one blind, getting 4-1 with a suited jack. This is supposed to be a defend, but in the World Series spot, we've just not seen people defending with this hand in this spot pretty much ever.
Would be dominated in an unexpected way.
Yeah. The board came deuce, anything. It would be very bad for Maniac and very surprising. Feels like Maniac's just trying to use all the clock. Just trying to get to that 9th place finish now.
Ace Queen for Vape Nation and 4s for Maniac. We could see a confrontation there.
Pablo might shove his ace 4 also. He's got 11 blinds. It's probably a little too wide, but he chooses to do it. That's going to knock Maniac out because I can't believe Vape Nation's going away.
Yep. I agree.
Let's see if it happens, though. Tyler Durden 4 says this stream would be way better if they interacted with the chat.
Have you been paying attention, Tyler Durden? We've been interacting with the chat.
You're supposed to just leave it. You're supposed to let me say huh, and then we just move on. That's the fun. That's the joke, bro.
Well, I wanted to interact with the chat. Okay.
All right. That was like so good. It was like I had this whole irony thing working. You stole it from me. Like you stole my honor.
2 4s have been folded already. That's
really
bad news
for Pablo.
And that's not a good flop. This thing's over. Yeah.
The 1-4 with the queen on there too. There was just no. I guess it could have running king 10 to chop. That's all he had because there were no 4s left. Instead, ace queen of clubs makes the nuts on the turn, and we are down to 10. Wait.
Now we're down to 9. We're heading to the final table. Look at that nice welcome bonus.
We're going to look at this welcome bonus for a second as they prepare the final table.
And we're probably going to have the whole round robin seat choosing thing that they do on GG Poker, where the players get to choose their seats going from smallest stack to largest stack, moving around, trying to jockey for position. It's a very strange thing.
Yonatan does move. Here's Seth Fisher now. Yonatan trying to get close to the button, I guess. Could have gone to the button. Chooses not to. That's sort of interesting. When anyone can move else, I think you just want to move to where the button is. Maybe you're not allowed to move to the button.
Yeah, maybe not. That would make sense.
This whole thing's... Yeah, because that means... Well, that sort of like makes it better for whoever's first. Because the person on the button basically would never move, right?
Yeah.
I would think.
Unless they had two big stacks who they were afraid of on their left. Something
And
like
those
that.
big stacks had already moved, because otherwise those things can move again
Yeah,
anyway.
true.
You know?
So I have another gimmick
very
idea for the
strange.
World Series of Poker for another tournament.
Bring it on.
It's called the sleepover. Players are given popcorn, 2-liter bottles of soda, and pajamas when they enter. And Lethal Weapon 2
They're
is
given pajamas.
Yeah. Lethal Weapon 2 is played on a loop on the big screens in the Rio.
Good.
And it's a Iron Man tournament. You never get to leave. It's like you have to stay until you bust.
And there's no cards. You just stay and eat and watch movies. $10,000 buy-in.
and you bond.
Iron Man. That's good. The sleepover. I like it. So we got the clam chowder giveaway, the anteater, and the sleepover so far.
These are world-rocking ideas.
I mean, it's a little embarrassing that we're just putting them out in public and not like copyrighting them, protecting them in some way. But
you're right.
The anteater may actually catch on. I mean, it's not impossible.
I'm gonna give you 10-1 on that if you'd like.
If we bet enough money, I will start a write-in campaign to all the people in the poker industry I know to make it happen.
Well, I guess I better find the sweet. I better find the middle then. I guess I better find the middle as far as the bet size.
You got to make it small enough that I'm going to be lazy.
All right. Here we go.
Final table. They've all locked up $32,000, but over $400K left to be won.
Don't think we're going to see any action here.
Could have opened the button, but chose not to.
Wow, deep question from James Bondarchuk. Do you guys have thoughts on the ethics of playing against compulsive gamblers? Actually, we've gotten into that before. You should listen to our podcast because sometimes we go far afield and get into those things. I don't think we'll have time on the stream to really get into all of the nuance that goes with that discussion.
If there's a break when the next break comes up, maybe we'll potentially get it if nothing else is going on. Like it is a fair question to ask for sure. It's one of the reasons why Dan Coleman said he was retiring from poker for a little while, right? I think it's a really fair question. But let's at least focus on the final table for now. This is the biggest moment for some of these guys' lives. Yonatan Basin with the shove and 2 sevens. And it's probably just going to get through unless Sebastian Grax decides to make a pretty loose call.
Yeah, that's getting through. So your favorite guy's name is Michael Nugent, by the way, Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fabulous. Mr. Fantastic is the stretchy guy in the Fantastic Four. Okay, he's Sue Richards' husband.
Sorry,
Mr. Fabulous. Completely different person. And
you're such a nerd, man. You have to reference the Fantastic Four. You have to add a little detail to make sure everybody knows that you know everything about the Fantastic Four and who's married to who. Congratulations. You know who's married to Mr. Fantastic. Really cool.
That's
man.
my brand. That's my brand. Pop culture.
Yeah. You and Bill Simmons, I guess. Got the deuces shoving.
Bill Simmons is more of like a gangster movie guy, though, and I'm more of like a science fiction comic book guy, and a TV show guy, and movie guy. But yeah, Bill Simmons paved the way for all of us. Wheelchair basketball if you're not in a wheelchair.
Is that responding to James Bondarchuk? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Not going to touch that one. I think that's the plan.
Probably a good idea to stay away from it. But I'm not even sure what that's in reference to. So, cousin Jimmy Farrell, we're not sure what you're talking about. All right,
Clement is going to open the Queen Jack here.
Queen Nine suited probably just not good enough to call. Yeah. And it looks like it's just going to get through. I'm waiting to see if someone going to, plant a flag and start 3-betting without the goods, start putting pressure on everyone or not. I always like to see who that's going to be, if anyone. Yonatan with the ace-queen suited. Very pretty. Once again, just a lot of garbage at the table, though. And I don't mean the players, Grant. I just mean their hands.
I don't think that needed to be clarified, but thank you for making us all feel safer.
I thought you were going to attack me again. You've been coming at me so hard.
When I called you
4 seconds ago.
when I called you a big nerd, that's not an attack. That's a public service announcement.
The more you know. It's a that makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, we got 8-9 suited. We got ace queen suited. We got ace 10. We got king 4 suited. There could be a little bit of fireworks depending on how these guys play it. I guess Seth Fisher's probably going to end up just shoving, though.
I think Sebastian Grax is going to end up folding most of the time. Seth Fisher will shove, and Michael Nugent will probably fold.
Probably. Could decide to call, but it's such a big chunk of your stack. It is against the cutoff, though. Ace 10 could be ahead. Snapshot definitely wants Michael Nugent to call. I know that, but...
Yeah, but we've seen on these final tables and late-stage tournaments, people are not making this call. And it was a quick fold for Michael Nugent.
Yeah. Ace-Jack is where it probably gets a little tougher. Ace-Jack you might have to go with.
Clement with Queen-Jack
again.
again.
Starting to see some better hands. Yeah, we got pocket 5s. We got King-Jack suited. We got pocket 7s. We got all sorts of flash.
I'm predicting no flop, though. I think Seth Fisher might just shove, and then we'll get a fold from both pairs. Yeah, that's the most likely outcome.
Or Michael Nugent's probably going to shove the 7s or fold. So I think you're probably right. One way or another, it's unlikely to be a flop. Everyone's relatively short.
Seth folds. Interesting.
Yeah. I think Michael Nugent is not calling. Oh, and then Michael Nugent calls. Wow. That was the only thing I thought Michael Nugent wouldn't do.
Is anybody as bad at predicting what players are going to do as you? Over the course of these streams, I feel like you've almost always gotten it wrong.
I've been wrong a surprising amount of time, but I would say I'm often predicting what I think is like the game theory optimal decision or near or close to it anyway, and they're not choosing it. It's not my fault.
If all of the players who are making deep runs in the World Series this year have different thoughts than you in these spots, maybe there's something to examine.
It's a really, really fair point, I must admit.
Meanwhile, we have a bet and a call on the flop.
Probably going to have to check here as Arseni. Really hard to know what to do except check. And then, I mean, if Michael doesn't have a queen, you assume you're good a lot. I think you have to consider check calling this turn. What do you think?
What does Michael have that's
a float. Not a queen? You're calling against the float because it's a queen deuce board, and you're just like, unless there's a queen, I should be good.
We've seen no evidence of that type of play so far.
Yeah.
Maybe there was something like that going on earlier. Michael Nugent is going to deny some equity here with the 2-7s. Probably not expecting to get called by anything worse.
Yeah. If they were a lot deeper, this is a lot earlier in the tournament, I think we'd see a lot more odds of a call here from Arseni. But considering the situation, it feels like you just got to give it up. Well, the best hand won, which I know Grant loves. That's really important to him.
It's really important to me. You're right. Got queens under the gun for Evaldis. Probably once again no action. Oh, we got a reaction video.
Whoa! That was incredible. No one's done that yet. That's the first time we've seen that.
Yeah, this is a new feature on GG. I think it just came out maybe yesterday, where you can do an up to 15-second reaction video. So that was Vape Nation showing us how legit that name is.
That was amazing.
I would call it terrifying. It came out of nowhere and I didn't know what was happening. I was like, is the internet broken? Oh, no, it's okay.
Hey, by the way, we didn't even mention, Queens just limped under the gun. Queens did not raise.
I'm sorry. It's because of the whole vaping.
Yeah, it's true. It took our attention away. Top set, though, for Queens, and going to be hard to get any action here.
No, nobody has anything. This is a spot where you could check. It is so incredibly dry, the board. I mean, there's some gut shots.
Good. You could check once. You could check or min bet, I think, are the only two options here that are reasonable. You can definitely still get, it's fine to check that once, but now you're going to need someone to take a shot, basically.
Still have the nuts. That's the nice part.
That is nice. I can't imagine Evaldis is going to check a second time, assuming Sebastian doesn't take a shot, but he doesn't.
I expect a very small bet coming from Evaldis.
Yeah.
Maybe even a min bet.
I think a min bet is fine. It's probably just going to end things. It's kind of heartbreaking to flop this well.
Nope.
Oh, not a min bet.
More than a min bet. Half pot.
Queen or an 8 probably both would have bet the turn, so hard to get called there. Hey, we're on break, Grant.
Yeah, and Evaldis got more value by 60K than would have otherwise, I
Yeah.
suppose. So that's not so bad.
But also, cut down on his equity, going into the flop pretty significantly by doing that. So it goes both ways. Probably not worth
True.
the extra 6.
True.
Anyway, let's get back to some of these questions since we have a little bit of time.
Okay.
5.5 minutes. So James Bondarchuk says, I'm an ethics teacher and an amateur player occurs to me often. Do you guys have thoughts on the ethics of playing against compulsive gamblers? So do you want to start with that?
What was that big pause about?
I was reading Tyler Durden's next comment. I was wondering if it was in play with
the twigs and the berries.
Yeah,
trying to decide what I should
say in the other comments. There will be some Mike and Vince stuff. Don't worry, guys. We'll definitely do some Mike Sexton stuff later.
Okay, so when asking the question about the ethics of playing against compulsive gamblers, there's a couple factors that have to be clarified. Like, do I know they're a compulsive gambler? Because how am I supposed to know?
Okay, well, let's put it this way. If you play enough poker, some of the people you're playing against are compulsive gamblers, right?
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
So how do you feel about that? What are the ethics?
It's difficult because their addiction is hurting their life in a very severe way. I become a vehicle for that, but I don't believe that any of my decisions that were made with my own agency are a factor that led to their compulsive gambling or to their life being worse. And the alternative is that you just can't play poker at all because there are people out there who have a compulsive gambling problem, which feels like too big of a solution. It doesn't feel so. If it's unavoidable to play against them, I think ethically it is not ideal, and it sucks that it happens. But I guess my first reaction would be that the ability to play poker, which I do not think is an unethical game, outweighs the need to try to avoid that situation. What do you think, Jonathan?
I think unlike it isn't like you're driving up to their home and offering them drugs and they're addicted to drugs, right? Like they're putting themselves in a situation to gamble anyway, right? They came to the poker club, they came to the casino, whatever it is. They're doing it either whether you're participating in it or not, right? It isn't like you're seeking them out and like, hey, do you want to play a game? Let's play poker, heads up. If you're doing that against a compulsive gambler, that actually feels questionable.
That's different.
But if they're already at the table when you get there, or you're there and they show up at the table, whether you participate or not, they're participating, and so that's number one. So in that way, I feel like the ethics don't come as hard on us, the other players. Although I think it still is a little bit of a question. The other piece is we're playing for money, and when we lose, they get our money. Like there are consequences to our losing, so it's only fair when they lose that we get their money, right? I mean. And they're playing for whatever their reasons are. Most people who play poker, I don't think are playing for money, even though they may say they are. I think most people play for ego or for the thrill of it, the thrill of bluffing someone, the thrill of making a great call, which are not money related necessarily, even though sometimes it results in money. And so like the people who are playing specifically for money are often professionals or on their way to becoming professionals, or at least aspiring professionals. And those people are usually going to be better at making money in poker, but not everyone's playing to make money in poker. I mean, some people are playing to have fun, and they hope to make money. And it's a really different thing, Compulsive gamblers, they have different reasons for playing still, of course.
Yeah, they have an addiction, and this is their outlet for that addiction. Poker is probably
so many
better.
Outlets,
Poker is a superior outlet than playing a game against the house where they're guaranteed to lose at least. I mean, that's a minor win for poker.
Having said all of that, though, there is the other side of this too, and I do wonder about it sometimes. I don't mean to make it sound like this is super cut and dry. I don't think it is. I definitely played against guys where every time they just keep going in their pocket and pulling out $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000, and it just keeps happening, and we're all looking around at the table like, what is going on? Like, how much money is this guy going to lose? And there definitely are people who will lose six figures in a game over the course of a year, than the games that I play in anyway. And I they keep coming back. So they seem to be able to afford it. And I guess I feel like practically it's none of my business, but I do wonder about it. Like I don't feel completely absolved from it. And I don't know that it's completely okay, quite frankly. I don't have a good clean answer.
I think it's a less clean ethical thing to talk about than a lot of other things that exist in capitalist society. I mean, I think it's a far less clean discussion than even saying is it ethical to take a job at a convenience store where you sell cigarettes to people who are addicted to cigarettes, and that will eventually kill them? I mean, like that's an even cleaner thing. And I think society is too messy to make all of these ethical distinctions and make choices based on these thin lines where, as was pointed out by seriousness, a person is responsible for their own actions. And like, to a certain extent, I agree with that as kind of a blanket thing, although I do agree sometimes people need help and people need intervention.
Yes.
But
I mean,
when you're going to entertain yourself or try to do your job of playing poker, I don't think that becomes part of your job.
Yeah, and I certainly have pulled some people aside and encouraged them not to play for different reasons. But that said, there are times when I've been in the game and like, this guy's like guy who's just like helping fund my life, quite frankly, you know, in the past anyway, where I don't say anything because, you know, they come in, they lose a lot of money and it's great, you know. I mean great meaning like it's financially good for me. And like, so I haven't always spoken up either. So it's not clean, but most things aren't, as Grant's saying too.
Hey, we're back to the action, by the way.
All right. The full break was spent on that little discussion. I felt like we could have gone a lot longer on that.
Oh, for sure. That's why I was saying that earlier when it was first asked. And looks like Jonathan is probably going to be shoving. Well, it is under the gun.
I don't know.
It is under the gun.
I don't think we're going to see a shove. It's 10 blinds. I'd be really concerned as Jonathan that I'm up against a very strong range here.
Yeah, folds. I see it. I understand.
The power of aggression is really something. Even basically a min bet. Just like the under the gun is such, you know what they say, Grant, early position is the new late position.
Yeah, they say that. Everybody says that in 2014.
I mean, James, we see it working. I mean,
sorry, just real quick, James, on your last comment. I agree with what you're saying there. That certainly seems predatory. And that when there's a targeting situation, because you know somebody's a compulsive gambler, I think Jonathan touched on that in the beginning of his answer. I agree that it is definitely unethical. But the act of simply playing poker with the knowledge that statistically you're going to be playing with a compulsive gambler every once in a while is a bit of a different story.
Yeah, and even to the point of like where you switch tables because the table is better, the game is better. Like that seems fine and normal to me. You know, that's different than, I don't know. I guess how do we even determine what targeting means then, though? Like, what is targeting? Like, I'm not going to apply someone with alcohol.
Some people do that, though.
Yeah, I guess they do. They like buy shots for people and try to get someone drunk. That feels like over the line if they know that someone has a problem with alcohol and are going to gamble worse. If they're the ones bringing it up and encouraging it, that to me that's crossing a line from my point of view. But I don't know. I don't know how other people would feel about that. And anyway, Sebastian with the pocket eights and not a whole lot of resistance probably behind. Chris C, by the way, says if early position is the new late position, then late is early and early is late. So nothing really changes. Yeah, nothing changes except for the fact that everything just changed, Chris. Do you not see that? Everything just took a whole 180, bro. It's like the time Michael J. Fox turned into a wolf and then was great at basketball.
Was he actually really good, or was he kind of just good at dunking?
He dominated that game that time. So it wasn't just, it was dribbling and dunking and jumping, and I think he blocked some shots. Anyway.
Do you have his line from that game? Do you have the box score?
I don't. I only vaguely remember it. I think he shot 12 for 14, scored 32 points, hit a lot of threes, hit a lot of free throws. 6 steals, 7 blocks, 14 rebounds, 9 assists.
Look at this. Michael Nugent now is going to try to play big stack bully with the king 3 suited. Sebastian could call with their stacks.
Absolutely. And position. There's, of course, the problem of someone moving in behind you with some of the bigger. There's 3 relatively big stacks behind Sebastian. I mean, not really blind-wise, but
it's an easy fold then. We're not seeing too many moves made as 3 bets.
No.
So I think
we've seen 0 moves made as 3 bets, right? So far.
Yeah. I expect Seth Fisher to call, take a flop with this hand, despite only having 11 blinds. And this is an interesting flop. Bottom pair and a flush draw for Michael Nugent. I don't think we're going to be seeing a turn without players all in here. I think this is a really good check shove flop for Seth Fisher. I can't imagine Michael Nugent ever folding this hand. Oh, he checks.
What a shocker.
Is strange.
Wow. We may not see Sebastian may bet here to deny equity. Wouldn't that be crazy? Not insane.
I'd be worried about Seth.
Great board.
And
now, wow. Michael Nugent now.
Hammerlock on
It's
the
a
hand.
monster.
Just needs to avoid a jack or a 7.
Or a queen.
Or queen, you're right.
But also the diamonds as well. Oh, Michael Nugent's hand is a little bit hidden, but problem is got to bet this king now.
Yeah.
Right? He's got to bet it. And we may just, I don't know if Seth can even call. Like, what's Seth supposed to do
It's
here?
a tough spot.
Just go with it anyway?
I mean, you could call and
You check the flop.
hope for a shutdown on the river, but can you call now and fold on an innocuous river? I don't know if you can.
I know. I don't think so. I mean, like Michael Nugent has ace queen here, has ace king here a lot, right?
Lets it go.
It probably doesn't have ace 10 very much when he bets the king specifically on the turn.
Well, Seth Fisher's tournament life was likely just saved by Michael Nugent checking that flop because I think that was going to go check, jam, call.
Yeah, I agree. I was fully expecting that. Michael Nugent could have another 1.1 million chips in your stack, buddy. A lot of the time, anyway. But did play it deceptively.
Yeah, good to have some zigs when everybody's zagging.
Dominicas with the 6-5 suited is just way too good to fold.
Flop's a bad gut shot. It's a bad gut shot with the jack there also.
Backdoor hearts, bad gut shot, and 12 blinds. Feels like not enough to do anything with. Now, Clement might check back second pair, though.
This is a very common hand to check back on this board, yeah.
Yeah.
Cousin Jimmy Farha would have folded pre of Seth. That's tight, Cousin Jimmy Farha. Seth had Jack 9 suited and was getting an incredible price. I don't know. Feels like a call to me.
Well, closing the action, too.
Yeah.
You see, he still got almost 12 blinds. Or, sorry, almost 10 blinds. I really like the call by Seth, personally.
I understand not wanting to get involved with a speculative hand when you're short, but I think the math just demands that you do.
I mean, you only have 11 or 12 blinds at that point anyway. Like, you kind of need to win a big pot sooner or later. And here's an opportunity to, if you flop well, you can win a big pot because there's so much money already in there.
Interesting sizing here from Evaldis.
It's going to knock out any chance of Seth Fisher 3-betting all in. Now, maybe Seth wasn't going to anyway, but a min bet might have done it. So Evaldis limped queens under the gun and then bet surprisingly big there with ace queen suited.
So I wonder if that
unusual things. Yeah.
Was that to be able to fold to the stacks directly on Evaldis's left and call Seth Fisher if any of those stacks shove? Was that the plan?
I mean, he was going to be able to call Seth Fisher anyway. Ace queen suited. Seth Fisher has less than 10 blinds. There's nothing to worry about. You're calling anyway, no matter how much you make it. It can't be that.
Yeah,
I think maybe it is. Maybe Evaldis is going to fold because he made it so much and someone still jams. He feels like that defines the hand enough. He can fold ace queen.
Right, like if the big stacks jam, you can fold more easily when you've made it 780 than if you had made it 250.
But the problem is, and here we go, we finally see a 3-bet. Thing is, like, no one's 3-betting light anyway. There's no reason to do that big amount. So I hope there was other reasoning for Evaldis besides that. Anyway, Dominicus takes it down, and maybe that was the first. That was like the lightest 3-bet we've seen, and it was ace jack. But even that, but like people have been folding ace jack in that spot tonight, and in general in these World Series final tables that we've been seeing. So I'm excited to see that.
It occurs to me that Evaldis is the player whose screen name was Maniac. So I guess maybe just kind of all over the place, limping the queens, making it 780 with the ace queen. Seth Fisher all in with the ace 8, gets it through.
Maniac knows thyself enough to know that's who I am, man. That's how I live. That's what his voice does when he says it too. That's how I live. It's cool. People like that. All right, and Clement now. So normally this is a defend, but people mostly have not been defending in this spot. In the old days, I was like, this is definitely a call, and then they always folded.
And there they go with the fold.
So
that one does seem really tight, but also it felt predictable based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And but it felt really tight.
The ICM stuff is insane levels of pressure, I guess, for a lot of these guys, right? There's so much money to be won. And even though they've won $32,000, I mean, you're this close to $450,000. That's a lot more. That's 14 times as much money.
I like more money.
Yeah.
Not expecting too much action here unless Sebastian min raises or limps.
Yeah. Sebastian probably just going to move in, though, right?
Yeah.
20 blinds.
You see that small to big quite often. No, just goes with the normal pretty big, small to big raise, which I like. I like the sizing here, small to big. Moving in would have been fine too, of course.
All right, so of all this, known as Maniac, showing the Gandhi, my folds.
Showing the Gandhi, that sounds somehow dirty.
Sure. I mean, in certain cultures it is. And I don't mean anything about Gandhi when I say that, of course. I mean about it's just a sex thing.
Good. You're really steering us in the right direction here, Lovey. Thank you.
Poker guys up all night.
We got aces
hey, pocket
here.
Aces here. And pocket threes and ace nine, but pocket threes might make a. I mean, no, Sebastian has not been 3-betting at all, so I wouldn't expect a sudden 3-bet with pocket threes here. I expect a call, probably.
Mostly, but also a fold. There's the fold.
So if all this, is he going to jam? Is he going to 3-bet small? Probably should. He should probably
flat.
just jam. But
this is the Queen's limper. Could flat.
Yeah. I kind of think we're going to see a tiny 3-bet, but I'm just making stuff up when I say that.
Yes, you are.
I don't think that's GTO. I think GTO is you just shove.
I'll put my money on jam. I think we're going to see a jam.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, that's what
effective
there,
jam.
Oh,
like.
Nope. Okay, that's an effective jam. Yeah, but
it means the same thing.
The kind
as
of
a
jam you did. You did this with aces in a big spot in the World Series once. Same thing, except you're in the big blind.
Well, no, I was.
And half your stack.
Well, I was under the gun, and my half stack was a 4-bet.
Okay, so basically the same thing. Anyway,
it worked out great.
It did. There's Vape Nation, Lucas.
Vape Nation.
Mid-raise. Revenge of the Gandhi, says
wow,
Chris.
Perfect fold by Ivaldis, folding the ace-10. We got King Jack, ace queen, and 2 8s.
So it's going to be Seth Fisher could be in a really interesting spot with ace queen depending on how this plays out. Like a lot of the time, right? Unless Yonatan goes with ace 8, by the way, and not very many blinds. It's probably supposed to be a shove here.
There it is, yeah.
There it is.
King
Sebastian
Jack's
Gray's
out.
going to get away from this. I got to think pocket 8s are going to have to go with this. Though,
yeah, probably
right?
move it in, and then Seth Fisher might fold ace queen, like you're saying.
Seth Fisher should probably go with ace queen, but may not. One of the nice things is there's a shorter stack, so if they're 3-ways all in, and as long as Yonatan busts, also Seth Fisher would get the money jump. But let's see if Seth Fisher actually decides to go with it here. This is one of the ways you win the tournament, right? Is you go with the hand. But it's a tough spot. Yeah, he lets it go.
An ace was folded.
Clearly, a queen is coming, though, right? Like Seth Fisher always wins once he folds the ace queen.
Oh, or a king.
Or a king. Queen or king, yeah, obviously. It's like 100%. I don't need to see the river.
It looks like it is paint.
Yeah,
it is a king.
Yeah, it's the nuts. Well, it's not the nuts because of the diamonds, but yeah, of course he makes Broadway. It's like so obvious. If he had called this, it may have come out differently. But like once he folds, he's got to feel the pain of it. You know, now he's going to feel the pain.
Got our first final table elimination and proof that Jonathan Levy is a truth seer.
A truth seer. Wow, it sounds cool. Anyway, they do all ladder up though. We're up to $45,000. Mark Davis definitely thinks you should call and look to get paid. Or your
aces.
Oh, we're talking about the pocket aces hand from before.
Yeah, I see.
On a king or jack flop. Yeah, 440,000. That's fair. It's a perfectly fair thought. Okay, this is a really good 3-bet spot that wouldn't work out, but would be a typical 3-bet spot in a lot of tournament settings. But again, not something we've seen anyone doing. Oh, wow. Wow.
That's not going to work out too well.
Well, we'll see.
Ace 4 was folded. There's a 4 though, and a diamond.
And a diamond. That's not a good card. Well, there's a lot of
ace.
Oh! It's an
Ooh.
ace. Oh my god.
Brutal.
so rough.
And Dominica shows the ace 4. That.
Oh.
And now Arseny is big time chip leader.
Wow. Wow. Devastating river. We haven't seen anyone doing that level of light 3-betting the entire since we've been doing this stream. So since there were about 14 left. And man, the one time. And now Arseny is the chip leader, a significant chip leader.
And I think with this type of chip lead, Arseny should really be putting pressure anytime a middle stack opens. Should be 3-betting with anything reasonable.
Yeah. Also should just be opening a lot. Like Arseny just folded there. That should just be automatic mid open with like 85% of the range or something. Like only the absolute worst stuff should go in the muck at this point, I think. Arseny's probably just taking a breath after hitting that river though. So you realize the guy with queens, it was chip lead or out for the guy with queens on that hand, and that river was out instead of chip lead. I mean, that is devastating.
He's not having a good time right now. Not having 30 minutes ago, and probably also still because it's a 30-minute delay.
Yeah,
not having a very good time.
Not even close. He won $45,000, but $400K more up top, and would have been the chip leader with just not enough people, 7 players left. I mean,
many people will hear that story.
Aces. By the way, look at this setup. We got aces, 10s, and ace queen. We could see a 3-way all-in potentially here.
I don't see a 3-way all-in happening. I think we, at most, will see a heads-up all-in. The 10s are going to get away from it. Yeah, the 10s will be able to get away
all
from
in, all in. I agree.
And Grax, Sebastian Graxer might flat. People play super passive in these spots.
Such a good spot to squeeze. He
and
does
we see a flat.
Wow.
You should listen to my predicting skills, Levy. Take notes.
I don't like your predicting skills. I mean, not the world's greatest flop for pocket aces, right?
No, certainly not.
King Queen is definitely out there, but it's pretty safe. Besides King Queen, you're in pocket eights, you're beating everything right now.
The thing is, if you get raised, you do block the nut flush draw, so it gets a little scary, which is maybe why Arseny checks.
Maybe. I mean, at the same point, like you're going with it, right? It's 3-to-1 stack to pot effective. You're not folding aces against a player.
Ooh, the queen comes.
The queen of diamonds comes. Everyone still has reason to like their hand here.
Yeah.
Michael Nugent the least, admittedly, but after just check through, this is crazy. Sebastian Grax. Dude, Sebastian, it's 3-bet shoved free right now on the turn. He'd be way ahead, but we'll see where we end up.
How about an ace on the river for the ultimate super cooler card?
The one out ace on the river. That would be pretty sick. 10 on the river would be pretty devastating, but Michael Nugent's probably going to fold right here. So is Sebastian Grax going to raise? Feels like a pretty good raise spot.
I don't think so on the diamond. No. I mean, we've seen a lot of players so far this series be checking back with flush draws. It doesn't eliminate flush draws from Arseny's range so that the flop was checked back. So I don't think a raise would be hyper profitable.
He checks again, and I think Arseny's just got to go for value here, right?
You'd expect Sebastian to mostly have a king as played.
Yeah. Like, you just would fully expect him to bet a queen on the turn. Just really
checks back.
Wow. Unbelievable.
What a check back. You even blocked the nut flush. You even blocked the nut flush.
This could have been such a car crash of a hand, and somehow it wasn't. That's crazy. Arseny really got lucky there that hand played out like that, but also made a crazy check on the river. Probably too tight, quite frankly. But still. Turned out to be just right. Mark Bradley says, interesting you advocate the chip leader playing. Let's see if I can pull this out so I can read it. Playing any cards now against an open, I always tend to tighten up and try to ladder up. Maybe that's my problem. I don't think a chip leader should be personally any cards, but just widen the 3-betting range pretty dramatically is what I would say. Grant may disagree. But yeah, trying to ladder up when you're the chip leader is usually a mistake. You should be trying to accumulate chips.
Yeah, and I mostly am referring to specifically targeting the stacks that have a lot to lose rather than the short stacks. Like whenever Sebastian or Michael Nugent opens, I know positionally it's not going to be super easy for Arseny to be in that situation, but those players should be prime players to 3-bet because they have the most to lose ICM-wise.
Yeah, I like that. And you still wouldn't do it every time, I don't think. But like there's a lot, but like any kind of reasonable hand, any ace, a lot of kings, suited connectors, just anytime you can say like, oh, this hand is okay. I think that's a reason to do it. And certainly any ace in your hand where you have a blocker.
M equals 13 would like to nominate the hand for a breakdown. Yeah, it's a pretty good hand. I agree.
Okay.
It's gonna be hard to remember that you said that. So, go ahead and
you got to tweet it at us, man.
Tweet at us.
You got to.
And if you can't wait to find the YouTube link after this goes on to replay on YouTube, and you can actually just like find a link for it. If you don't want to wait that long, just tell us what the hand is and about what time it happened, and we'll find it that way.
Sure, why not? But it'd be better if you could find the link and the time, just between us. But that's a great idea to nominate that hand for the breakdown for sure. Wow. Arseny back-to-back hands, rivers the ace for the chip lead, and then checks back aces in that spot. Also, Sebastian doesn't 3-bet the ace-queen and get it in pre-flop, where Sebastian would be the massive chip leader now, and Arseny would be very, very short. What a back-to-back crazy hands for Arseny. Anyway, ace-king and nines here, and sevens, but sevens aren't going to get a chance to do anything because nines are going with it. I gotta believe, right?
Really would expect that, but players have been making far more passive decisions than expected.
Yeah. It really wouldn't occur to me not to shove nines in.
And that's a fold. A fold with nines.
Less than 20 blinds. Just throwing away the nines.
It's
so hard to get a hand as good as nine. But it's so hard to find a hand as good as pocket nines. Like, you never see a hand that good.
You never see a hand that good.
You know what I'm saying. Pocket sevens have, I think, a pretty reasonable call here. Like, they don't have to raise. Oh,
just
but they
moves
do.
in. Vape Nation.
All right, Vape Nation. Vape Nation. Sebastian Greg's clearly going to call this.
I would be very sad if we saw a fold. There's the call.
And we do have a flip.
Ace high flop.
That's really tough spot now for
one out.
No spades even. Yeah, just the 1-7. It's got to be a club.
It's a 4 diamonds. And
that will do it.
Nice deep run for Vape Nation there.
Yeah.
Gets decent chunk of change.
Yeah, we're up to $88,000 almost. And I know I keep repeating myself here, but now is when the real money starts to kick in. Like, we're finally starting to hit, like, the laddering up stuff starts to become, the pressure should finally start to really be on for that. Feels like it's been on the whole way, but it's just going to intensify now, right? There's so much more money to potentially be won or lost.
Meanwhile, Sebastian Grex flats the jacks out of the small blind.
Yeah. So very surprising, but they are the two chip leaders.
I kind of get it with the under the gun player and being the other chip leader. And, you know, it's kind of cool to have that in your range. You can easily, obviously, call a shove from Evaldis if Evaldis shoves over the top.
Yeah.
And if Evaldis shoves and Arseny reshoves, you can kind of get away from jacks and feel comfortable about it, even if you were wrong that time, you know?
Yep. Yeah, if Arseny happens to have tens, it's like, oh, well, I was unlucky. But yeah, it's a safer situation.
This feels like a pretty clear bet here.
Yep.
But no.
Chooses not to. Well, Sebastian's got to think most of the time he's got the best hand. Could bet to try and get called by exactly this hand or smaller pocket pairs. I think that's probably the best action. You figure ace high is just going to check it back. But if you're up against pocket eights, they may find a call. There's the bet.
Seems to be with your line of thinking. I don't think we're going to see a call from ace high based on everything that we've seen. Also, ace high probably shouldn't be a call on this run out when the guy flatted out of the small blind.
Yeah. If he was in the big blind, it would feel really different. But
yeah,
the range is, it's hard to come up with anything that actually you can beat. You can chop only, it feels like. Almost always. I guess maybe there's like a 9-10 suited or something in there once in a while. The one thing I could imagine going through Arseny's mind here as to maybe to call is like, you just kept checking back and looking so weak. So if Sebastian has any bluffs at all, they may all take their shot right now. You know, any kind of like worse hands than ace high.
9-10 suited, like 9-10 suited type hands.
Jack 10 suited, 9-10 suited. That's about it though. So I ultimately think it's a good fold. There probably isn't enough air there. Arseny clearly doesn't want to play a big pot against Sebastian, and neither does Sebastian. They're both trying to play small pots against each other. Makes sense with some very short stacks. 2-10 blind stacks.
Don't think we're going to get any action on this hand.
It would be a bit of a surprise.
Considering how passive we've seen the play and the hands, yeah.
Yeah, the one light through that we saw was the ace-4, which worked out unbelievably well for Arseny.
Yes, it did.
I think that's really it. Besides that, the second lightest one was like ace-jack, which I don't think counts as light. Anyway, this is lining up. Unless Sebastian or Evaldes decides to steal, you'd expect Arseny just to move Seth Fisher in.
Yep.
Even though he has a king, it's such a trashy king, I'd expect Seth to fold. Also with the 10 blind stack right behind him, even though he's the short stack. Just probably got to fold there. Someone like Seth, now I can understand where laddering up starts to really matter, right? Where you're often going to be the next one out. And if you can squeeze another spot,
yeah,
that's a fair amount of money now.
There haven't been any true coolers yet.
I mean, we had a few close ones that didn't end up getting played out as coolers. I mean, that the 10s against aces often would be a cooler, right?
True.
And ace queen suited were all in the hand, and somehow it was raise, call, call. I mean, when everyone was reasonably short. So, I don't know.
Well, here comes a shove, most likely from Dominicus.
Six-handed. A bracelet awaits.
Dominicus might be in some trouble here.
Yes.
On the button with ace-3, and Michael Nugent with ace-queen.
Definitely supposed to shove this.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely supposed to shove this, and then Michael Nugent, of course, absolutely supposed to go with it behind. Yeah, Michael Nugent definitely gonna shove, just trying to make it look good, I think. For Sebastian, maybe.
Well, chop outs.
Some chop opportunities emerge.
Oh, God. 5, 9, or a 3 to stay alive. It's a 10, very close to a 9. But that's not a 9.
And zam, bam, we are down to 5.
We're down to now we're at a 6-figure payout. 122K for the next place. Things went fast money-wise, it feels.
Yep.
We were talking about 18K a little while ago, and now we're talking about 122.
Feels so good when you do these, like just a few people go and you look and you're like, wow, this is like a really different amount of money. It feels so nice. Oh, here we go. Seth Fisher, of course, short enough to do this. Gotta believe Arseny's gonna call. And we're gonna have a flip. We might be this close to four-handed.
Well, there's spades.
11 outs.
Just one time. One time.
Probably has already gotten his one time this time around. They hit that ace on the river. Nice double up for Seth Fisher, who is no longer the short stack.
No, that is the maniac, Evaldes Anulius. I'm just going to say Evaldes.
I think you said that great. I will note, we've been talking about all these money jumps, but the next money jump isn't significant really compared to the other ones. Like it's only like $43,000. Obviously, it's a significant amount of money, but even though right after that we start doing really big money jumps, so let's keep an eye out for that. Pocket kings and just no one to play with.
No friends.
No. Take your chips and go home.
And we are up in blinds, 160K.
Yeah. Sort of have a nice, not too much, not really anyone in the middle class, really. Right? You got the 2 10 blind stacks and everybody else. So there could be some nice opportunities to put for the bigger stacks to put pressure on each other. And even actually against the lower stacks where they can leverage the fact that there's another super short stack, another 10 blind stack. It's going to be hard for anyone to call off extra light. Or if it's close at all, they're probably just going to find folds.
Ooh, light
Look
3
at
bet.
this. All right, Michael Nugent. And this just sucks when you're Arseny. You just throw it away, I guess, and don't worry about it.
Malt Liquor Host says it looks like I cleaned the scruff a little bit. I mean, I shaved the neck beard part a little bit. That part was getting a little disturbing.
I'm actually used to you with facial hair now. You no longer look absurd to me.
Thanks. Greatest compliment ever. Greatest compliment ever. What a friend. So
and Arseny does fold.
I like what Michael did there, especially at a table that's playing this passively. But not only that, I like taking hands out of the big blind that feel like you mathematically are supposed to call with, but don't really play well post flop. They don't really have a home post flop. Queen 7 off doesn't really have like those flops that it likes, so it's easier to turn those into 3 bets and you know, play the more connected hands as calls.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. Of all this, min raises with like 11 blinds, king 7 suited under the gun. How about that? It's not a normal thing. You just don't ever see that decision. It's usually shove or fold. And there's the re-raise.
All right, we're opening up here. It looks like we're opening up. Games
it's interesting because I would be worried if I was Arseny that if all this would have a really strong hand by not shoving, you know, min raising with 11 blinds. But
we haven't seen a lot of opens from Evaldis, but when we did see one, it was to 780K at the 120 big blind level.
Yeah.
Maybe that's been consistent throughout the tournament, and Arseny is aware that there's a sizing tell that's like really severe. Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah. Here's an opportunity for Evaldis to shove. Probably should be doing it. Ace 5 rates to be ahead of Michael Nugent's range and instead calls. And here's the problem. You flopped a pair, but Michael Nugent can put a lot of pressure on you. And are you going to call off with bottom pair? I don't know that Michael Nugent's going to put that much pressure, but it's Mr. Fabulous, right? Mr. Fabulous. I almost called him Mr. Fantastic. What a disaster that would have been. So I guess it's a check raise all in, right? You're just going to have to check raise all in here?
I mean, I guess.
I think that's what you're supposed to do. You can't fold, right? You can't call pre, flop this, and fold. Calling, I guess you could call, but boy, you're really setting yourself up for some trouble down the line unless you turn a 5 or an ace. And he folds bottom pair.
Looks like we might be having some streaming issues.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Be working on that for a second. Sorry if you guys can hear me. Trying to fix it right now.
Cool. I'm just going to keep calling the action, and it comes back when it comes back. Ashton, once again, with one of these tiny pocket pairs, just folds it this time. Guess really aware of the super small stacks behind. Uh-oh, and here we go. If all it's going to happen with the kings. Surely this is going to be an all-in. Well, effectively, it's an all-in anyway.